How are schools going to deal with the increased energy costs?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Because if you're running a school or a college, essentially to try and create more income to pay for those charges is simply impossible. It's not like you can put your prices up or anything like that. And that leaves you with some really difficult decisions. It leaves you with four decisions, four options. The first one is it might be that there was a project you were going to do in the school, refurbishing an area, creating a new drama studio, painting the corridors. An easy decision, I suppose, would be you don't do that. That's not going to save you a lot, but nevertheless, that's one thing you do. But then you get into much more thorny territory. You can increase class sizes so that you have 30 or more young people in a class. And what that does is to mean that you're paying fewer teachers overall, so it reduces your staffing costs. The second thing you can do in a secondary school, but not in a primary school, is you can say, well, there are some courses that haven't got 30 young people in a class. Therefore, we will axe those courses. So we'll keep GCSE maths, but we'll get rid of GCSE drama or music and so on. Really difficult decision, but that's one of the things people are having to contemplate. And the final decision, which is the most difficult, is do you say, well, we need a teacher in every classroom to cover those subjects, but the teaching assistant who was supporting the teacher, who was giving one-to-one small group support, that person we can't afford to employ. Now, on all of those fronts, Gloria, it seems to me that the people who will be the victims of this will be those young people, particularly young people, you mentioned catch-up a minute ago, who need one-to-one support, who need a strong, rich curriculum, who need to be in smaller class sizes. All of those are going to do damage to those young people, it seems to me.
Let me put to you what the government say in response. They say schools' budgets will rise by £7 billion by 2024-25, including £4 billion in the current financial year, a 7% cash terms per pupil increase. They say you've got enough cash to manage it.
Yes, I hear that mantra every time I'm wheeled out to talk about this. And of course, it always sounds impressive, doesn't it, when you talk about billions of pounds. But the reality is that what schools are being expected to do is quite different from what they were in the past. We've had the government say that teachers are going to be paid around 5%. There are debates about whether that is appropriate or not. I won't get into that. But what I do know is this: the government is not fully funding that. So immediately, the people who I represent, and we said, put 3% aside, are having to find additional funding for that. And we know that support staff are also going to get an increase, not at all funded. And then we have these eye-watering energy hikes. So it's very easy for someone in Westminster to talk about the £7 billion. Don't listen to them, and don't listen to me, a trade union leader. Listen to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, who say that by 2024, on the current trajectory, using the government's own figures, this country, England, will be spending 3% less than it did in 2010. And we expect more of our schools, particularly after catch-up. So it's really not worth us bandying figures around. Instead, we need a government, and particularly a department that is for education, the Department for Education, to say we are for education. We have to do something so that young people's learning is not going to be damaged and subjects lost irreparably and the quality of education left in tatters.